So the next thing that we need are values. So how many of us have kids? Kids that we know of? Okay, yeah, okay. All right, so what do we want to teach our kids? Values. You know, honesty, good, be happy, be respectful, be polite. All things that they can integrate meaningfully into society in their own unique and individual ways, right? They still don't lose their uniqueness, but they can integrate into society in a meaningful way. Now, we want to ingrain those values into our children, obviously for when we're around, but what happens when we're not there, right? How do we know how they're going to behave or act when we're not around? That's why we actually want to ingrain the values in them, so they know how to behave when we're not around, right? So they have to have some ways to think and decide for themselves. We're building decision-making filters for our kids so they can actually make better decisions, better life choices for when we're not around. Okay? So no different for employees in an organization. This is critical, that we have these core values so that your employees know how to think when you're not around, as you're building your team. So when Mark, you're not around, Nicole knows what to do. She just goes, well, Mark would think like this, 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 and this, so I'll do that, bang. And then you go do what you need to do, and you come back, hey, I did this, this, and Mark goes, okay, hey, did you think about that? Did you think about it? Oh, no, I didn't know that, okay. Coach the gap, coach the gap, coach the gap. And move her closer, thinking in alignment with those values. And then you're doing that with the other people in the team, the delivery people, everything like that. That's what the values are there for. So as you start to develop your values, these are your decision-making filters for your team and your organization. So here at ATC, we have those ones up on the wall behind you. Safety, accomplishment, partnership, simplicity, innovation, extraordinary service, and profit for purpose. Okay, so when I'm not here, everybody at ATC is able to make decisions much the same way that I would. Is it safe? Number one, core value at ATC. Is it safe? Can this be done safely? Can we make sure everyone is free from risk and harm? Great, if it's safe, boom. Then will it demonstrate accomplishment? It doesn't have to demonstrate every single value, but we filter it through. But if it goes against one of our values, we don't do it. It may not be relevant to all our values, but if it goes against one, it's done. Or it goes back out and says it gets asked in a different way. Absolutely, like especially safety, done. That's why we always go with the first one. If it doesn't pass safety, it doesn't go anywhere. You know, and if we can't do it with extraordinary service, which is just doing that little bit extra, then what's the point in doing it? Okay, we're going to do it, that's great, but what can we do that's that little bit extra? How can we surprise that person or add value or do more? Right? So our values cause us to start thinking like that. So my job as a leader then is to help educate the team on those values so that not they just memorize them, but what I call mesmerized by them. They own them. They're embodied, right? They've taken ownership of those values. So my job is to help them think in line with those values. Because remember the first session we did, how I think determines how I act. So if we know this is the thinking that will drive the right behaviors in our organization, what I need to know is where does the team think now? So once I know where the team thinks now, I can go, here's the thinking they have, here's the thinking they need. I just coach that gap. My job as a leader is just to coach the gap all day long. So tell me what you're thinking. What do you think? How do you think we should do that? I'm like, think. Because once I know that, I can go, great, because I already know the thinking we need. Well, what if we did this? What would happen then? Oh, well, we could do this, we could do that. Okay, that's a great idea. Why don't we do that? Right? And that's as a leader, as I grow my business, that's all I do all day long, is help the team think more and more in line with the values. If I don't lead with the values, how are we going to live the values? Every single conversation at ATC either starts with the values or brings the values into them. And with our strategic partners or our suppliers, it's the same thing. We cannot deliver extraordinary service to our customers if we do not receive extraordinary service from our suppliers or our strategic partners. How is that possible? You can't do it. So we also value partnership, so we partner with our strategic partners and our suppliers to work with them to, if they're not meeting those standards, to build them up and help them to get to where we need them to be. But if they don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. We go and find somebody who does. So when I talk about having values for your business, it's not just for your team to use. Every single stakeholder in your business has to meet those values. But when you empower your people, they will surprise you. Because that's why innovation, all this talk about innovation in business and stuff like that, it comes from an empowered workforce. If you have to be the whole creative chief of the business, you're doomed. I mean, you're a pretty smart guy, don't get me wrong. Like here, I think I'm a pretty creative dude, but the capacity of this team to think, and really pay more for that than anything else, but you're not getting 100% of that person if you're not allowing them to think. The reason we don't allow them to think is we can't trust them because they might make a mistake. Well, it's because we didn't give them the framework to do that within. Right? So that's why this is important. So we now have something to believe in. Now we have someone who believes in me because you've demonstrated that you trust me. You've helped build that trust. Right? And that's your job. And the same thing with your suppliers, strategic partners, is, hey, this is what we want to do. Great. Hey, that worked really well. Can you do this for us now? Can you take that on for us now? Can you do this for us? And build, build, build.